Welcome to the Retail Tech Podcast, where we talk about the full spectrum of technologies and implementation used in omnichannel and online retail. Make sure to subscribe to our newsletter at retailtechpodcast.com, and we always look forward to your feedback. Today I'm speaking with Will Tjernlund, an Amazon expert who is also sold a lot on Amazon himself and consults with other companies as well. How are you today, Will?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for taking the time to talk to me on this holiday week for most people, but of course we're working, right?
Yeah, exactly. Never taking a day off.
No. So, the subject of Amazon is so important, and it's also could be scary for a lot of retailers and brands. What's the best way to handle this for me? What do I do? Where do I invest? That's why I was really interested to talk to you and get your feedback and information. So hopefully we'll help some people make up, at least answer some of their questions. So let me ask you this. If there is a brand that is selling direct to consumers, or they're just selling through a distribution channel, versus a retailer that is selling, they have physical retail, how should each one of them look at Amazon?
So for most brands, one of the biggest things they're trying to do is preserve their MSRP, or their minimum advertised price. A lot of brick and mortar stores need a very large margin. Say they buy the product for $40, they sell it retail for $100. They need that sort of $60 cushion because they have to pay for the overhead of a warehouse, the employees, the insurance, and all the other different fees and charges that come along just owning a normal brick and mortar business. And while Amazon sellers, for the most part, do not pay for any of those overhead because they usually have a very lean business and depend on Amazon for all of their fulfillment and customer service and marketing. So since the Amazon sellers do not have to pay for all that overhead, they can sell a product that they buy for $40 and sell it for $60 and have zero problems. This becomes a really big problem for the brand owners because the Amazon sellers are incentivized to sell as low as possible while still making a profit. This makes all of their brick and mortar stores and all of their big box stores like Target, Walmart, Best Buy, whatever, it makes it so they start getting mad saying, hey, we're not going to place any more purchase orders with XYZ brand because we buy it for $40. We're supposed to sell it for $100. We see it for $60 on Amazon. Until you figure out this problem, we will not place any more purchase orders. So Amazon turns into being this thing that could have just been supplemental income for the brand, and it turns into something that's actually ruining some brands because people are selling at such break-even prices that it's cutting off all of their distribution they've built over the years in all the different brick and mortar and big box stores.
Okay, so how do most people actually manage that challenge?
So the main way to manage that challenge is to know exactly who you're selling to. What usually happens is a few of your mom and pop shops get wise to how Amazon works, and then they will order the product as usual and then sell it out the back door on Amazon. So first and foremost is knowing who sells your product on Amazon. Once you can figure out who's selling your products on Amazon, then you can have a discussion. Usually the way the discussion goes when I'm working with a brand is we'll send out a message saying, hey, we are the brand owners. There's plenty of brick and mortar stores out there who provide excellent value to their brand. They put our products on the shelves. They keep them in stock. They educate the customer about them. They do upsells to the customer, try to get them to buy accessories. You guys add a ton of value to our brand. Who doesn't add a bunch of value to our brand is actually the people who are just flipping our products on Amazon for a quick profit. So as of, say, January 1st, 2017, we will no longer be fulfilling orders to any of our distributors who sell on Amazon. And we are going to be the only authorized Amazon seller from now on. This is in your best interest because we will keep the prices where they're supposed to be. We will make sure we provide the best customer service possible. If you're adding external value to our brand, then you will see no difference, and this will only help you because we're keeping the prices high. If you don't add any external value to our brand, then basically you're just another person flipping our products on Amazon, and that's something we can do ourselves, and we'd rather make all the margin instead of you.
Right. Okay, so I think that's a key point here that you mentioned is adding value for a brand. You know, if the brand is only looking at sales numbers, I mean, ultimately you have a business, you have to make the numbers work. But the numbers are more than just revenues. There is
Yep.
there is loyalty, there is retention, there are a lot of things that go into the bottom line other than just the revenues. So that adding value that you talk about is more than just here's another sales channel.
Exactly. So a way like Target, Walmart, Best Buy, a way that they easily add value is just having your products on the shelf. You become a product that people see more and more, see on a daily basis, and they become used to your brand and they get educated about your brand without even knowing it. So they're actually adding value through just marketing and brand building. If say you're selling a specialty product like say climbing equipment or fly fishing equipment, most likely you're going to go to a specific mountain climbing store or a specific fly fishing store. And then that's where the store owner can add a ton of value where they can educate you. Oh, you're a beginner and you're going to be fishing in so and so kind of creek. Oh, I know the perfect rod for you. My nephew used this last week and it was his first time fly fishing. He had a great time and he caught the biggest fish when he used this bait. So make sure you use this bait. That's the kind of stuff that Amazon can never do because that stuff doesn't scale. And so if they're providing real value, educating the customer, upselling them to buy the bait that matches the rod, all that kind of stuff, they're adding real genuine value. If they're just using Amazon's traffic as just another sales channel, that's something the brand should be doing, and the brand should be profiting the most from it because they did all the R&D and all the hard work, not the middleman.
Right. So of course, you know, that said, I mean, there is are a lot of people shopping on Amazon. So it's probably not wise to completely dismiss it and stay out of it. You just need to have a strategy, right? Just like what you're explaining.
Yep, yeah. So you definitely do not dismiss the Amazon sales platform. That would be a very big mistake. But you make sure that either you are the only seller on Amazon or you know who the only seller is on Amazon. I've worked it out in the past with companies too where they say, hey, we are a B2B company. We're always going to be a B2B company. We will never sell to directly to consumer ever. So they sell to only me, and I'm the only authorized reseller on Amazon. The reason they sell only to me is that they treat me as basically kind of like an A plus sales consultant that handles a whole entire arm of their business. But I pay them because I buy inventory instead of them having to pay me. But the main thing you need to do is make sure that there's only one person selling. Most likely, it should be the brand themselves selling on Amazon because the second that there's competition on Amazon, that means that people are going to be competing for the buy box. And if people compete for the buy box, that means the price can be driven down and the value of the brand is going to be driven down.
So how does a brand actually manage the different pricing structures between retail, their other, maybe their own, even their own website, and then what's sold on Amazon? Do they sell everything at the same price everywhere?
So something I would suggest, especially if you're just selling directly on Amazon, I would suggest maybe even going a few dollars above what your retail sales are. So if everyone's selling it for 19.99 in all of your brick and mortar stores and Target, and you're selling it for 19.99 on your website, maybe sell it for 21, $22 on Amazon. If someone's on Amazon and they're an Amazon Prime member, an extra dollar or two is not going to change their purchasing habits. They're already on the one-click checkout website. They can care less about kind of like overthinking their shopping experience. They're going to buy it regardless. And then two, it gives you kind of plausible deniability later on if any of your brick and mortars say, "Hey, we heard you're selling directly on Amazon. A lot of our customers are are not shopping at our store anymore because they love Amazon. What are you going to do about this?" And then the brand owner can say, "Well, I'm selling on Amazon at a higher price than you're selling in your store." So you can always say that you have the lowest price no matter where the customer goes. And if they really want to buy on Amazon at a higher price instead of buying from you, then that customer never wanted to buy from you in the first place, and I apologize.
Right. Okay. That's a good idea. The question is, so what about other channels? Like, I mean, we're talking about Amazon, but I know you also work with other marketplaces like eBay and maybe even other ones. This is basically Amazon has to be a part of the overall strategy, right, for the brand.
Yes, for sure. It's kind of I've sold on all the other platforms. All the other platforms combined may add an extra 10, 20% to the bottom line of revenue, but the majority of revenue still comes from Amazon, even based off my own e-commerce stores that I've run. But yeah, you definitely need an Amazon strategy moving forward. Brick and mortar stores are closing more and more. The amount of sales reps in the world is becoming one of the it's one of the professions that's dying off because the world's becoming flat. A sales rep is not necessary anymore. They can just go to your website and order from you. They don't need a rep for the Midwest region and a rep for the Southeast. That doesn't make any sense in this day and age. And so the reps are going away. Brick and mortar stores are closing. Um, Walmart's not opening more stores. It's starting to close more stores than it opens. So, and Amazon doubled its stock the last 18 months or so, and they've been growing at a crazy pace. So where are you gonna kind of position your business moving forward? Are you gonna continue doubling down on things that look like they're closing and not doing so well? Or do you want to try to hitch yourself to the Amazon bandwagon and see if you can make money during this gold rush? Because the earlier you get into it, the more established your rankings are going to be and the higher your rankings are going to be. I equate it very similarly to businesses who didn't really want to have a website in the mid to late 90s, where in 1996, 1997, they go, well, who's ever going to buy anything online? Why would I have a website? And then 2001, 2002 gets around, and they can't even buy the domain anymore for the website they want. And it's really hard to rank on Google since everyone else has been ranking for the last 5 years and all that kind of stuff. So when people ask me when they need to get started on Amazon, my usual answer is yesterday.
So that's an interesting point. The way Amazon actually ranks the business, it's also related to how long they've been selling on Amazon.
Yep. So it's based off of historical sales data. It's like Google SEO. So no one really actually knows, but from what people assume, it is based off of the number of sales you get, and then two, the conversion rate for how many people click into your listing, how many people actually buy. And so you, if you are a brand new seller and you have zero historical sales, or you have one sale yesterday, Amazon's not really itching to put your product in front of the customer because the customers seem not to want your product. Well, if someone else has a conversion rate of say 50% on Amazon and they're selling $30,000 a day, Amazon knows that they need to get that listing in front of as many people as possible because 50% of the people who click on it can't help but buy. And so they try to which makes sense. They try to really promote the top sellers. So it's really built on a rich get richer type of system.
Okay, what about reviews?
So reviews they look pretty and they're nice, but they don't actually go into the sales into the algorithm as much. It just always is more like correlation, not causation, where products with lots and lots of sales usually have lots and lots of reviews, and products with lots and lots of sales are usually ranked high. But ranking high does not actually correlate with reviews exactly.
Okay, so if a company actually starts to get some bad negative reviews, does Amazon do anything about that at all, or?
No, it depends more on if it's like a product review or a seller review, because there's two different types. So a product review, that's fine. If a product gets more and more bad reviews, less and less people are going to buy it. As less people buy it, its ranking is going to go down, and eventually it's going to kind of kill itself off. But if you get bad seller reviews, that's how you can get like banned from selling on Amazon. If you send the customer a product that's not as described, or if you send the customer a broken product, or you send the customer a product a month late because you didn't want to use fulfillment by Amazon, all sorts of things you can do with your seller reviews to get your account banned and stuff you can do to make Amazon angry.
Okay. So the question, just going back to the first question, is it depends on what you're doing, and then at the same. So what about an actual retailer? Let's say somebody has a retail store.
So the retail store is going to want to talk to their brands ahead of time and say, hey, we notice I carry these 12 brands in my equestrian store. Um, we want to sell your products on Amazon. We notice that it's a total mess. There's 100 different people selling each product. Each product is listed under 10 different UPCs. Everything's a mess. Do you want us to come in and take care of, and like basically my pitch I gave earlier of, do you want us to sell your product and be the only reseller and control your brand? Now, you're kind of doing the brand a favor by asking for that ahead of time. These retail stores could technically take the entire catalog of every brand they have available and throw up all those listings on Amazon and instantly just start getting sales in. But you're going to try to be the nice guy ahead of time and build a partnership and be someone who can actually add value to their brand, opposed to just someone who's just making a quick buck off of their brand. And so you call up all the brands and say, "Hey, we've been ordering from you for years. We own so and so brick and mortar store. We're moving some of our sales onto Amazon. We want to help you control your brand, make sure we can give the best customer service possible, make sure we can keep the price at minimum advertising, make sure we can always have the most updated information about each product. We're going to do a great job managing your Amazon account. Can we be the sole management and distribution of your brand on Amazon?" And you can write up a little contract for that and everything. And then two, if you are sitting there, you can use a software like Jungle Scout and see everyone's sales statistics and how much sales everyone's doing per month. So you take your catalog of available SKUs you have and you go SKU by SKU, seeing which one has the most sales per month on Amazon. Start from the top and work your way down. You don't have to order the whole catalog right off the bat, but it should be pretty simple for you to be able to kind of compare the two and figure out where you're going to be making money immediately.
Okay. Now, how does brand actually control these things on Amazon? Does Amazon actually work with the brands if they say these people are not authorized to sell my product?
No, you have to be a very big brand like Nike or someone or Apple to be able to have that kind of pull. They just opened it up so you can register your brand, but still people are not really getting too much protection with that. And so the main thing, which is like the store owner would have to do, or whoever is selling their brand on Amazon, one of their roles is going to be to make sure that no one else sells on Amazon. So once a month, they might see someone pop up on one of their Amazon listings saying, "Hey, there's another seller on my listing." They can easily go and check and see if they only have one unit in stock, they're just selling one unit and trying to get rid of it quick. So you say, okay, not a big deal. If you go and see they have 99 units in stock and they're selling on Amazon, you go and contact the brand and say, "Hey, we have an agreement. I'm the only one authorized to sell on Amazon. Who is Will's Products Unlimited? Do you know who that distributor is? Because if so, you need to email them and say, hey, they broke the terms of service. They're not supposed to be selling on Amazon, and that you can no longer fulfill their purchase orders anymore."
Okay, so you need to have a way of monitoring really who is selling your products on Amazon.
Yep, and it's very easy in the Seller Central dashboard. If you go into your sales statistics, you can just sort by what percentage of the buy box you have won, and if anyone else on the listing, it would just be any number besides 100%. So you can just do that once a day just to make sure that no one's on any of your listings. It takes 30 seconds total.
Okay, cool. Now, going into the actual programs that Amazon has. So let's say somebody, a business, retailer, or brand is going to go and sell on Amazon. There are different programs that they have. Let's talk a little bit about those. I think there's like the Seller Central, and then the Vendor Central, and then Fulfillment by Amazon. What are all these different programs?
So Seller Central and Vendor Central both use Fulfillment by Amazon. So I'm going to start with Fulfillment by Amazon first and work from there. So Fulfillment by Amazon is basically you send your inventory into Amazon's fulfillment centers in bulk, and then they send out each individual order as customers order it. They realize that from Amazon's point of view, that the hardest thing about e-commerce is the marketing and the fulfillment and the customer support and returns. And so they went and took care of all of those with Amazon and Fulfillment by Amazon. So then your only job is to basically be a sort of glorified sales rep for Amazon and add as many SKUs to their catalog as possible. So then Amazon can look at all the SKUs on there and decide which ones they want to carry themselves and which ones they want to private label and so on. So Amazon knew they didn't have the money to get every single SKU and product in stock in the world on their platform, but they knew if they made it easy for third-party sellers to get on their platform, that they would do the job for them, and then from there they could kind of work their way down the list. So that being said, Seller Central is more of a consignment business model, and that's when you sell on Amazon. So anyone can sign up for Seller Central. Seller Central can you can use Fulfillment by Amazon when you do Seller Central. When you use Fulfillment by Amazon, you are charged about a 20-25% fee of the retail price. And Amazon basically, you can send in as much inventory, as little inventory as you want to. You can sell any products you want to. You can adjust the pictures, the prices, the bullet points. You can change anything whenever you want to. It's very kind of simple. The more kind of upscale version is Vendor Central. And a lot of the bigger brands I work with do Vendor Central only. And Vendor Central, instead of you bulk sending a whole container of your inventory into Amazon on consignment and kind of having it wait there as each individual order gets sent out and it gets sold, with Vendor Central, you send only the inventory that Amazon orders from you. So in Vendor Central, you sell to Amazon, not on Amazon. So Amazon will place a purchase order with you, say once a week of, hey, we want 5 units of this, 7 units of this, 10 units of this. You fulfill that order, and then from there, your job is 100% done. Amazon basically handles everything from there. You can do some external marketing, but for the most part, Amazon handles everything. And your product will show up on Amazon as shipped and sold by Amazon. And so for a lot of brands, it makes a lot more sense for them to do the purchase order model because that's how they're already fulfilling orders. It's getting purchase orders in once a week, fulfilling those orders, and it works really, really well with their pre-existing systems. The Seller Central, you get a little bit more control, but it depends on your cash flow situation.
Okay, so on the Vendor Central, do you actually get a like an automated message when somebody makes a purchase, or Amazon actually projects the volume and orders in chunks up front?
Amazon projects the volume and orders it in chunks. So they like to obviously have as little inventory and stock at any time, because they don't want to be over stocked.
Hmm.
But at the same time, they try to have at least like say 2 weeks of stock on hand at any time.
Okay, and then so how do they know that information? Do they you give them that information, or do they actually, so do they, like, one my thought is right now, do they start people on Seller Central after they get some history, then they move them to Vendor Central? Or can you just
So
start from Vendor Central
you can
starting to
just
work with Amazon?
you can just start with Vendor Central, but for most of these brands, their products are already being sold on Amazon. It's just not them selling it.
Okay.
And so Amazon can just look at their historical sales data and they know exactly how much that product sells.
Okay, and that's probably one of the factors that they take into account with, people working on Vendor Central.
Oh, exactly, for sure, because Vendor Central is invite only. And so if I just have any normal iPhone case made out of rubber and I say, hey, Amazon, do you want to start placing purchase orders from me? Amazon's going to say, no way. We have no idea that sells. We have no idea if that's a good product, if customers like it, or if anything. But if you go and you throw a pre-existing product up on there, like an iPhone 6, say, if you're Apple, on the Vendor Central, then they're going to go, wow, well, we sell 1,200 of these a day. So we want to order at least 10,000 just our very first order.
Right. Okay. Now, you also mentioned the fees on Seller Central are about 20 to 25%, right, of
Yep.
retail. Um, how does that work out? Does that actually work out where you can actually make a decent profit with giving away that much to
Yeah,
Amazon?
the reason is because you hand over so many responsibilities to them. And so, like my brother and I were selling on Amazon, just us two, unloading the containers ourselves, stacking them, putting them on pallets, shipping them back out, calling the distributors, calling the brand owners, blah, blah, blah. And we got up to $7 million a year in sales, just two people, because Amazon handles so much. We would not have been able to logistically ship out each individual order. But
Okay.
and then two, the thing is that since Amazon ships more than anyone in the world, when they ship to the customers, they ship it based on their UPS rate and then charge you after the fact. So you get the cheapest UPS rates you can possibly get. So if I sell a product that's say in a 2 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot box, say, and it costs $50, well, I'm going to pay a $12 fulfillment fee to to Amazon. but that $12 includes the shipping to the customer.
Oh,
And
it
so like
includes the shipping?
exactly. So then so for me, it would have cost me for that 2 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot box that cost $50. It would have cost me $35 to ship it myself. But if Amazon does it and they do the customer service and it's Prime and it's 2 day delivery, it only costs me $15. So why would I ever ship stuff myself?
Right. Okay, so if it includes the shipping, then that's a big difference.
Yeah, it's a
That's a,
huge difference. And so for like some oversized products that I have like a 4 foot by 4 foot by 4 foot box, I've looked at what it costs for me to ship that 2 day shipping, and it cost me $1,200. The product doesn't even cost $1,200, but Amazon can do it for $350, and it's $1,000 product. And so all of a sudden, that product is profitable to sell online for the first time.
right, right. Yeah, I guess this goes back to the initial challenge of selling big items on online, which like pet food and things like that.
Um,
Pets.com didn't work.
yep.
Yeah.
One more bonus to it too is that Amazon, you can set up software in the background to do multi-channel fulfillment. And so Amazon can ship all of your, say, Shopify orders or your any ship to any address you want to, or on eBay orders or anything. So you can just send in all of your stock into Amazon, have that as your central fulfillment center, and then Amazon for a cheap fee can ship it out to your eBay customers. And so you only have to have inventory in one place, but all of your customers get the benefits of Amazon logistics.
Okay. So another question that I have is product type. Of course, not every product type sells best, right? Or
Mhm.
same way. What are your thoughts about the different product types that sell better on Amazon?
As we kind of mentioned earlier, it really always just comes down to, can you add value or not? And so if you're selling something where it's a 2 inch steel bolt, that's something that you can't really add too much value to. So it's gonna be kind of a pain to sell on Amazon, because whoever has the deepest pockets is gonna win. Because whoever can buy it in the biggest bulk and sell it the cheapest is gonna win. But if you're in kind of a weird niche, that's where you can make a ton of money. So like I was saying with fly fishing or scuba diving or underwater spear fishing or any of those weird niches that haven't really been saturated yet. A lot of products I've sold in the past are like HVAC products and like different fireplace accessories and such. And so like the more niche down you can get, the better, because there's always someone looking for it on Amazon. If you type in the product into Google, the Amazon link most likely shows up first. So Amazon does the SEO for you. And two, it's there's just gonna be that much less competition. And if there's no competition, you set the price. And as I explained earlier, people are not that price sensitive on Amazon, so you can set the price at a pretty nice level and get a pretty hefty return, since you're not paying the overhead that normal brick and mortars are.
Okay, so what I was thinking about as far as the product type is also as to like if it's apparel, if it's ladies' shoes, sports shoes, furniture, refrigerators, things, like TVs. How do those differ? Like if
So
somebody's buying furniture.
So as of right now, everything is just growing like crazy. Like every single category is growing crazy. Furniture and all like the non-traditional e-commerce ones are growing the fastest because people are giving them a chance for the first time. But for the most part, like I personally would like to stay away from apparel and shoes, because there's way too many sizes and colors for me to try to keep all of them in stock. That's a lot of cash flow to tie up, and they tend to have the highest return rate. And so the highest return rate and have to tie up the most amount of cash, I'd prefer not to do that. Where if you're selling something that's like one of the best products I've sold in the past was a kind of like not a carbon monoxide alarm, but it actually measures a gas called radon, and it costs like the product costs me $100. I can sell it for $200, and it's the size of like a deck of cards. And so that product I can stack 2,000 of them on a pallet. It's a year's worth of inventory. It cost me $100 to send it to Amazon's fulfillment center. And then that product makes me whatever, $3,000 a month profit for the next year. And I don't have to think about it for the next year because I have a year's worth of stock in Amazon. And so those are the best type of products where you can do the set it and forget it type business model.
Right. Of course, in that year that your product is sitting over there, you've already paid for the product, right?
Yep, you pay for the product, and you pay for storage fees every quarter, but it's something ridiculous like $4 per cubic foot. And so I'm paying something like $30 a quarter to have it at Amazon's fulfillment center, which is fine for me if I get to kick back and not have to deal with the managing of the inventory manually.
Right. Now, what about Amazon's own brands? They're coming up with their own brands as well, right?
Yep.
How does that work out, and is that like a competition? Should you worry about it? How do you handle that?
Yeah, so the thing is with Amazon's brands is that they're starting from the very, very top of the list and kind of working their way down. And so they're noticing that there's lots of products out there that customers buy all the time, like say iPhone chargers, that customers buy all the time on Amazon. They sell 10,000 iPhone chargers a day, but most of the customers are returning them or leaving negative reviews because all the iPhone chargers are super low quality since everyone's competing on price. So Amazon goes out of their way to go source and make their own iPhone chargers because they do whatever they think will make the customer the happiest. So they provide an iPhone charger at a very low price that doesn't break, and then they move on to the next product. Okay, what's the next best-selling product that we can manufacture easy, that customers are not being treated well, where we can give the customer a better experience? And they're kind of just working their way down the list. And so I think as of right now, they have about 900 different products on the Amazon Basics category. If you're in any like niche that's actually has some sort of community to it and all that kind of stuff, I think it's gonna be a while till people in the mountain climbing industry use Amazon Basics mountain climbing gear, like that kind of stuff. I think that they're always gonna want to go with the niche specific brand experts, but for anything that people just buy based on price and don't care what the brand name is, Amazon Basics should have no problem making major headway.
Okay, is that basically the same concept as like, Costco's Kirkland Signature concept?
Yeah, private label brands in general, with Target, with like Archer Farms and Market Pantry, are one of the biggest growing like kind of categories in retail. It's the people are just finding out more and more that basically a lot of brands were doing a very lame job of kind of research and development, and like no one had really updated toilet paper for whatever 30 years, even though that's the only thing they sell. And so Target goes, well, it's easy enough for us to sell toilet paper too, and we won't sell it at this crazy price since we don't have all these weird overheads that you do at the toilet paper company, since we're just a retail company. And so more and more companies are getting into private label brands because there's very, very little products that customers are very brand focused about, where like if it's a golf club, customers will only buy a golf club of a brand they've heard of because they're very brand centric. But if it's like a gardening tool, no one could care less of what brand gardening tool they have.
Yeah, I think that's a very important distinction, is how brand sensitive are different products. Like if you're buying a car, that's also pretty, which speaking of, Amazon is going into that business too, right?
You have to sell in fiat.
Yeah, so now just a little bit, I know there's like a ton of things to talk about, but as far as like the let's tech integration side of it, how automated can brands actually make this whole process of, let's say, if they're selling on Vendor Central or Seller Central, is it a lot of manual work or is it mostly automated?
Um, there's a really, really weird correlation between, I've met hundreds of Amazon sellers, and there's a really weird correlation between Amazon sellers and people who have read the 4 Hour Work Week. And so it's almost everything is automated. Like there's a little $20 a month software for every little micro task you could do on Amazon that automates it. And then two, if you go on like Upwork.com, there's a million virtual assistants out there who are very specifically trained in different Amazon basics and very different Amazon like jobs and that kind of stuff. And so everything can basically be automated from, I know a lot of people who sell on Amazon who live in Southeast Asia because they get their containers sent from China. They brand their own products. They send the container on to Amazon in the US from China. Amazon accepts it in their fulfillment centers, sends it out to each customer, and then they get a ping on their email, whatever, 2 months later saying, hey, you only have a third of your inventory left. Here's a purchase order that we've already pre-made through the software. Do you want to forward this on to your supplier? You forward the email onto your supplier, and they send another container into Amazon. You wire them the money again. So it's a very set it and forget it business model if you set it up correctly and you can manage your cash flow correctly.
But you still have to work on, I guess, the merchandising and the product
But
display.
But what do you
right,
mean by merchandising and
right.
product display?
So let's say, what products are you going to sell? I mean, the
The best
container.
sellers. Because it's so you, like sorry, real quick, sorry to interrupt, but the way these guys work is that it's all based off analytics. So they would go into with the softwares and see exactly what's selling the best, and then from there, what the market's missing, find it on Alibaba. So yes, there is some upfront work for you to find the product, to brand the product, and all that kind of stuff. But once you get the picture up on Amazon, you wrote the listing out correctly with the right description, you set it at the right price, everything from there is set and forget it. So if you want to grow your business and add more SKUs, then yes, it's going to take some work on your end. But if you're willing to just kind of maintain it, it will everything will run itself.
Okay, so yeah, once you get a product set up, then it can be pretty low maintenance as far as additional work until it keeps selling, and no competition comes and takes your lunch.
Yep, and so that's why it's so painful for me when there's retail stores and brands who aren't selling on Amazon because they already did the 99% of the work. They already established the LLC, did the research and development, found the right supplier, did the customers, talked to the customers to make sure they designed the most perfect product possible for version 2. They've already done all the hard work. The last 1% is uploading a picture onto Amazon and setting a price. And when those people are making the majority of the profit off of the end customer, not the actual brand owner, it's such a disservice since they're not adding any value.
Okay, so um, this is of course a fascinating topic, and it's just it keeps changing. And that's like one of the things that you do right now. You help brands basically make sense of all the different things that are going on, because I mean, even the programs that we're talking about, they are evolving, right? Amazon is improving things, they're changing things. So how do people actually keep on top of the information?
It's not easy, honestly. I'm in like I work with an Amazon newsletter. I'm in a bunch of Amazon Facebook groups. Most all of my inner circle and people I chat with on Skype are Amazon sellers from all over the world. And so when there's a new change in the terms of service, it seems like the world's going to melt down every time because I have 1,000 different people giving their opinion about the new change in the terms of service. And so you kind of have to get yourself inside of the bubble to keep up with it because if you're from the outside and you're just going to go to the Amazon terms of service each day and read through it each day to see if there's any changes, good luck. So yeah, it's not easy to keep on top of, but if you kind of just like dedicate yourself to it, it's not that hard. It's no different than someone who knows everything there is about every single soccer team in Europe. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Where it's like, how do you keep up with who's on what team, what coaches where, whose contract is how long? It's like, well, if you just engross yourself with it and all your friends are engrossed with it, it kind of comes natural. But if you see it from the outside, it seems like it's a daunting task.
Yeah, it's more like if you see it as work, it's going to be hard. If you see it as really something you enjoy and almost like a hobby, then it'll be a lot easier to manage.
Exactly. You have to like enjoy being obsessed.
Right, right. So, well, thank you so much. This is really valuable information. I will add information on the show notes on how people can actually get in touch with you. And hopefully we'll get to talk again in the new year.
Perfect. Sounds good. Thanks for having me. And if anyone wants to reach out to me, I'm pretty easy to find.
Yeah, I'll add the information on the show notes. Thanks, Will.
Perfect. Yep. Thanks.
All right.
Yeah. Sorry if
So,
I go on and on.
no, this is
I'm
this
wound
is
up.
this it's how can you not be wound up about this? I mean, this is like history being made in front of your eyes, right?
Well, that's why I make that. I try to get it in people's eyes when I make the comparison to the internet just starting.
Yeah,
Because it's like
so
it's still only whatever 20 years old. Like there's still so much money to be made, and I constantly still find random big brands where it's like, oh, no one's selling your products fulfilled through Amazon. It's like this is just what a disservice.
right. So this is an interesting thing. So in your company, and I looked at it, it's called Goat Consulting, right?
Yep.
So what's up with the name goat? You like goats, or you're nimble like a goat?
No, it literally was the only animal that was still available. So we tried like shark consulting, alligator consulting, like we tried everything, and like goat was the only one available. And then like people say too, like goat stands for greatest of all time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well,
And so like with that, with the mountain goat, we're climbing up the ladder, we're climbing up to get more sales. We're like, okay, we don't mind it. We'll stick with it.
I'm an Aries myself, so I kind of like goats anyway. So the now what? So you looking at your website, you do Amazon.com seller account optimization, you do account maintenance and growth, and you do brand protection and development. These are the three services that you've identified on your website.
Yeah, so we have like never all of my leads and all of the clients we've ever gotten were from people like I've talked to at conferences or like personally been recommended to. We get about like 3 visitors a day to our website.
Oh, okay.
Um,
But these
yeah,
are
so
things
it's
that you do, right? Well,
you
for
know they are things
people.
we do. Yeah, so basically what we do is we just manage their entire Amazon account. So instead of them trying to go out and say they're doing some brand that sells $100 million a year in sales total, they want to get on Amazon. Instead of them going through the effort of trying to find 5 different people who are Amazon experts, hiring them, and then trying to go through making sure that they're trained properly, making sure they're up to speed, making sure they know about how Amazon works, all that kind of stuff. That sounds like a nightmare. And instead, you can hire us for like a fraction of the cost.
So do
And
you
so,
charge based on like a percentage of,
yep.
okay,
And
revenues? Okay.
And so the way it would work, most likely, say the brand, they have no Amazon account or anything, so we have to start from scratch. And so say we would charge them $50,000 to get their Amazon account set up and everything perfect and everything optimized. And then from there, we would charge like 5% of new revenue um, is our fee. And so after the first year, it's based off of the years previous. So like we constantly have to keep their account growing.
So that your interests are aligned basically.
Exactly. And two, yeah, it's basically to keep our interests aligned for them. Then they know that everything we do is in their best interest,
Hmm.
you know, and two, that we're not just going to sit there and kick our feet up after a year because each year we're incentivized to grow it more and more. For us, we're confident that not only can we grow their account, but that Amazon's going to keep growing too. So it's a win-win.
Amen. Thanks a lot. Happy New Year.
Yeah, you too. Have
Take
a good
care.
one.
Bye
Nice
bye.
talking to you. See ya.